Peace and blessing. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Amplify the Voices of the Global Majority Online Summit, focusing on how we heal. My name is Reggie Hubbard, and I'll be your host for our journey together through this week, this glorious week. Today, we welcome Fimo Mitchell, who will lead a session on healing and thriving together. And as we begin, I'd just like to presence us with the breath. So find a posture that is comfortable in the body. Maybe place one hand on the heart, one hand on the abdomen. And tune in, settle down. Ain't no need to rush. We're here. Feel the gentle rise of the chest and belly on the inhale, gentle fall of chest and belly on the exhale, and just be present with the miracle of you. Then feel into how the miracle of you becomes the tapestry of we. And it's in that connection we're healing and thriving, flourish. Deep full inhale through the nose. Luxurious exhale out the mouth. Let us begin. Kripalu has joined forces with change makers around the globe who work to dismantle inequity, mitigate harm, steward the planet, and prioritize collective wellness, and stress interdependent liberation. Through the history of the Amplify Voices of the Global Majority, Black, Indigenous, and people of color have been at the forefront of breaking down barriers of systemic issues that affect both the planet and humanity while ushering in radical change. Whether that has been bringing yoga to the West or fighting injustice on the front lines of society across the globe. And now is a time that requires us to listen, to heal historical wounds, and do something different. This playbook ain't working. We enter this work as an act of community care because none of us can do this well. None of us can be well unless all of us are well. So again, welcome. We are inspired to be sharing this sacred space with you. This online summit creates a compassionate space to humanize the healing process, explore justice as a tool for restoration, and cultivate humility, determination, and surrender on the path of transformation and liberation. Our world is navigating a polycrisis of grief, including personal and collective loss, climate disruptions, post-pandemic recovery, and ongoing global conflicts, environmental and man-made. This event invites participants to gently hold these realities while exploring pathways of healing together. We'll lean into the wisdom of ancestral practices, the solaces of community, and the hope inherent in renewal through community. So let's breathe again. Place one hand on heart and abdomen. Presence ourselves in the wisdom of this moment. Deep inhale through the nose. Soft sigh. We are honored to gather today, virtually located in the Berkshire Hills of Massachusetts on the unceded territory of the Stockbridge-Munsee Band of Mohicans. I'm dialing in from the unceded territory of the Piscataway Nation in Anne Arundel County, Maryland. On behalf of the Kripalu Center for Yoga and Health, we invite you to use the link in the chat to learn more about what land you're on and the indigenous inhabitants therefrom. And today, Kripalu stewards these lands as a nonprofit educational organization dedicated to empowering people and communities to realize their full potential through transformative wisdom and the practice of yoga. Our Amplify Voices series has been made possible through the generous gifts of our donors. Now let's take a moment to gather together in this collective virtual circle and allow this to take whatever form it needs for you. We have done hand on heart and abdomen, but if another posture suits your needs in this moment, be free. Do as you need. So let's take a breath through the nose. Inhale, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathing in the potential of this moment. Soft exhale. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, to awaken deeper presence. We are now honored to welcome Fimo tonight, who will be leading a session entitled Healing and Thriving Together. Fimo Mitchell is a meditation teacher, podcast host, and writer. In 2021, he founded When the Village Meditates, a nonprofit committed to creating meditation and yoga and discussion spaces, along with wellness retreats that center radicalized and racialized and marginalized people. But without further ado, let us welcome Brother Fimo Mitchell. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Reggie. Thank you for that intro. I feel like it was said. we can go home, but we won't. I thank you all for joining and for being here. Miles, is there any way to stop? I don't know why, but I had the camera lower before. Maybe it's something on my end. Thank you, Reggie, and thank you all for being here. As Reggie said, I founded an organization called When the Village Meditates, and when it was time to come up with a slogan, like for our mission, for what we're all about, I didn't have one, and as a writer, that happens, a title. To me, I saw a slogan like the title of a book or something. So I was like, well, it'll come, it'll come when it needs to come. And I don't know how long I waited, but I waited a while, to the point where some people around me, who will remain nameless, were like, hey, we need to kind of have like a slogan here, like something that goes with When the Village Meditates. And it came to me one day: we heal and we thrive, ... together. And when I said it, when you say something, you're like, it doesn't matter if no one else likes it, I like it. It means something to me. And fortunately, the board liked it as well, and everyone was happy. And for me, it had special significance because I was away for so many years. I was living in China for like 16 and a half years. And it was out there that I got into meditation, and in many ways, it was out there that I started my healing journey without really knowing that's what I was doing. But it was also out there that I thought, I don't need anybody. I grew up in a pretty large family, and it was just nice to be away from it all, and nice to be away from the familiar and to be in a completely different environment, which was China, small towns in China. And I'll never forget a friend visiting with his wife, and his wife asking me, what do you do out here for community? And me, being much younger, I said, community? No, I'm good. I had some colleagues that were friends, but I don't know if I had like a community. I didn't really, to be honest with you, I didn't value that. I was like, I'm on my journey, I'm doing my thing. You hear a lot of there. My journey, my thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I was fully in that. And there was no space for community. And then I came home in 2019, and I wanted to share my meditation practice with people who look like me. And so it started right here in my living room, Saturday afternoons. People would cram into my little living room. Well, at first it was just a few people, like my sisters and some friends. But then it started to grow. And I knew something special was happening when, after the meditation, We were doing some empathetic listening, in pairs. And a brother who I went to school with years ago, when he was done, when we were sharing after the empathetic listening, he said, it was the first time where I felt like I was truly heard and seen. How he said it, it wasn't just the words, it was how he said it. We all felt it. And that's when it hit me. I was there to teach meditation and to inspire people to really hold space for one another. People were coming for that, but they were also coming to be in community. And I saw in that moment the power of community, the power to really witness each other and to hold each other with our presence. And we hugged each other as well. In that moment, I saw healing and thriving happening in community. The word community, when I said I used to scoff at it, it had a lot to do with how it was used. Oftentimes I would hear these companies talk about join our community. I was like, you just want me to be a customer. And how I see community is really a group of people who feel that they belong together and they're willing to grow together and just love on each other. And so it's even different from a movement. We've seen movements come and go, and movements are great. But movements have a specific goal in mind. And everyone in the movement might not be in community with each other. And so there's something about being in community. And then we add on the fact that most of our hurts, the harm, the trauma wasn't really caused when we were alone perhaps, but it maybe it did happen within family, within community. And so maybe our healing also happens in community. I invite you to take a deep breath in and to slowly breathe out. Let's do that again. Deep breath in and exhale. One last time together. Inhale deeply. And with control, breathe out. I invite you to stay with your breath and allow these sounds to meet you, to heal you, wherever you are. I invite you to bring your attention back to your breath. Notice how you're breathing. To breathe in and to breathe out with your full awareness. Not forcing anything here. There's no straining, there's no striving. Trust that whatever needs to happen is already happening. We cannot be blamed for what has happened to us. But it is our responsibility to face it, to heal it. If it feels right to you, I'd like you to repeat the following affirmation with your full voice or quietly to yourself. I am healing and thriving. I am healing and thriving. perhaps the truest and most profound I includes all. What does healing and thriving feel like in your body? What images come to mind? What does it sound like? What does it taste like? Perhaps it starts with an intention. An intention to heal, to thrive. And we move forward. With acceptance, lots of patience and kindness. Acknowledging the suffering. knowing that we are not alone in our suffering. We all carry wounds. Notice what is here. What needs to be nurtured? Who needs to be invited to sit with you? Come back to the affirmation. I am healing and thriving. I am healing and thriving. When you feel ready, I invite you to slowly bring some movement back to your body. And as you begin to slowly open your eyes, see if you can stay in this space, this energy, for a little while longer. when I think about how we heal, I get excited because I think there are so many practices, modalities, ways to heal. I think about singing and dancing and playing, laughing, eating. I just sitting, but I come back to that intention, that seed that we just release with a desire to heal and to thrive. We have an event that we do once a year called Out for Joy. And I thought it was important to have an event that really focuses on the cultivation of joy. There's so much in this world that divides us, seeks to dehumanize us. And so I thought it was nice to have, powerful, to have a day where we focus on joy. And it's designed to be an intergenerational retreat where we have sound healing and meditation and chair yoga. We have a journaling session and we have singing, and then we end the day with drumming, which turns into dancing, and some good food as well for lunch. And we've done it 2 years in a row, and every time I'm like, wow, to see a space packed with people that might not know each other, coming with different stories, different things that we all carry different things with us, sometimes pleasant, sometimes unpleasant, everyone brings that into the space, and to see how through these different practices, there's a bit of, it doesn't mean everything changes, everything is perfect. I don't think that's possible. But to hear how people speak about their day afterwards, to see the smiles on their face, to know that they leave with some tools perhaps, a bit more resourced. That's the power of coming together. An event like this. And so I started by saying how I thought I could do it alone. And I'm like, I was young and dumb. But I realize now how I need this, how we need this, and perhaps this in community with all our different practices and modalities is how we heal. So, thank you.
Thank you for such a beautiful practice. Thank you for, as someone who plays for others, to receive that for the duration. And also, it's raining where I'm at. So there's all this, you're like, "Woo," right? So like the combination of the storm and the vibes and the meditation, just thank you for that. Just from one practitioner to another, gratitude. And thank you, Mother Nature, for the aquatic percussion,
Yes.
which is very settling for the nervous system. I have a couple of questions that I want to ask you. Well, first of all, I just want to ask, we'll just offer gratitude for what you laid down, both sonically and in terms of the wisdom that you shared. My first question doesn't really have to do with how we heal. It's personal. How'd you get into sound, man?
As I said earlier, I was in China,
Yeah.
and I was doing meditation. I started meditating fairly early on. Well, not right away, but but a few years into my time out there,
Yeah.
and I saw a small those little small bowls. Like
Yeah, for sure.
it was one of the smaller ones, like even smaller than this.
Hmm.
And I was like, "What is that?" And someone played it. You know, when you're just in awe, like, "Wow,
Yeah.
how does that even work?"
Hmm.
And so it started with just one bowl, and then I got a bunch of bowls from my students.
Okay.
We had like an after school program,
Uh,
meditation, and so I told the principal everyone needs a bowl,
hmm.
so everyone got a bowl, and then once you get one bowl, then you're like, oh, I gotta get another bowl.
Yeah.
So that's how it started, and then yeah, I never took any sound healing courses up until recently, like
Mm.
last year.
Okay.
Everything was I just you know then I started getting crystal bowls and different other instruments and drums and stuff, but I never took a sound healing course until last year.
Hmm.
But I think it was just I like the sound. I like what it did for me.
Right.
It's like teaching meditation.
Right.
I was meditated for maybe 8 years before I ever shared it with teachers at my school.
Okay.
It was really for me, and
Hmm.
then I was like, "Oh, I think it could help someone else if it helped me." But I'm one of those people. I probably won't teach something. It'll probably take me a good 8, 10 years before I teach it. I gotta know how it works for me first, you
For
know.
sure.
So
For sure. I mean, I think
yeah,
what you just articulated is how we heal, right? You're like, yo, this works for me. What about other people? You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
that instinct is like part of the healing instinct. You're like, yo, this got me right. What about you?
And I think a lot of people feel that way with this, especially with the sounds, you know, like
Yeah.
before a meditation session, just one gong, people always say, oh, it helped to bring me here. You know,
Hmm.
because sound has a way, sound is always now. Like if
Right.
someone says, what's the present moment? You just, yeah,
Yeah.
what a brilliant answer, because I couldn't answer with words. Reggie, really, like I can't
Right.
answer that with words.
Right.
Someone says, what's the present moment? I don't know, but that sound knows. That sound.
Absolutely. The sound is like, right? It's funny
Yeah.
that you say that because in a lot of the work that I do politically and otherwise, people be throwing a stress at me. And it's understandable because teacher, healer, for sure. What I've started doing is like sending sound to people, right? Oh man, I had this day, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't really know what to say. It's like, however, this does,
I
you know?
Reggie, I was doing that in 2020 when, March, COVID
Yeah,
and
everything
everyone
went down.
um people I would go on Facebook and I saw a sister, she just had a surgery. I didn't really know her that well. We were friends
Mhm.
on Facebook, didn't know her.
Yeah.
I just I have some larger ones in the other room.
Mm.
I did the same thing. I just sent the sound. And do you know her message was, thank you. That made me feel so much better because she had just come out of surgery.
Right.
And then, in fact, there's a mother in that comes to all our One Division Meditate stuff who we met on Facebook because I sent a sound to her. She wrote on Facebook, just found out that my daughter was diagnosed with cancer.
Hmm.
How do you respond to that with words? I don't have the words for that.
I respect that for sure.
So what I did was I just made a short sound bath and send that to her. I sent it to her and we're friends today.
Hmm.
So it's funny you were saying you send sounds, the power of sound. I mean, we knew that with music,
Right.
right? But of and it's the intention behind it. Like when you're very intentional about doing this, right? And so I think the combination of intention and sound, wow,
Right.
powerful and how it's always now, and we heal in the present moment.
Right.
We heal. It's not in the future, when I get the money to go on that retreat,
Right.
like it's here, you know, it's available here and now. So, yeah, I'm glad you asked that question about sound.
For sure. Like it's, I also know that that sound, especially if you're a sound head, it just opens up all these other things, right? So, thank you for taking the bait. The second question, or not even a question, more of a comment on something that you offered in what you shared with us. You talked about acceptance, patience, kindness, and intention as part of the healing journey. And you also talked about like healing as something that you nurture. I think that brings to mind that people think that you can heal like this,
Yeah.
you know, and a
Mm,
healing is a way of being.
I like
Like
that. I like
healing
that.
requires you to shift how you engage with life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm speaking from my personal
Yeah.
experience with stroke recovery.
Mm,
Um, I can't eat like I used to,
mm,
right? I was at a political conference recently and someone's like, let's go out for drinks. And I was like, I don't drink,
mm,
like at all,
mm.
right? So, like, to heal requires you to make radical changes
That's right.
consistently.
That's right.
And I think that's why people don't want to do it,
That's
like,
right.
or
That's
why
right.
it can be a bit intimidating.
That's
But
right.
the nurturance, like you said, of acceptance, patience,
Mm,
kindness, and intention, that you come back again and again and
that's
again.
right.
So healing, to me, in its truest sense, is the mindfulness practice.
Mm, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. I like when you say it's a way of being. I feel that way, because I always say I'll let you know. I always say I'll let you know when I get there. Like I'm I
Hmm.
don't know if there's a such thing as fully healed. I still have some wounds
Yeah, for sure.
because there's still some things that trigger me. So lets me know there's still some healing to be done, you
Right.
know. Um, but I'm so grateful for where I'm at.
Right.
I'm so grateful for where you're at, brother. I saw your pictures last year on Instagram
Woo.
when you were in the hospital. Yeah, I saw. And so, like this is a good example. Like it's easier to see someone with physical wounds, right? Heal.
Right.
Like so I can look at you, I'm like, you definitely you've healed. Like you can see that, right? But
Yeah.
it's a little bit more difficult with the stuff that we can't see, but that we
Right.
carry, you
That's
know?
right.
And I think that self-compassion bit is so important. Can we be compassionate with ourselves while we're healing? And can we be compassionate even with the wound?
Right.
Like if it was a physical wound there, right? Like when we were kids, we get scraped and stuff, and and your parents would look at that wound. Okay, let me tend
Right.
to it. You would tend to the wound. You would
Right.
tend to it, right?
No one tends to the internal wounds like that.
Right, right. We don't. There's no like, oh, there's suffering here,
Right.
and a moment just to acknowledge this hurts. Like, ouch.
Right.
We do that for physical wounds.
Right.
But if we could do that for the wounds that we carry that we can't see, that are, you know, I and that's I think that's part of shifting just how we look at healing. You
Right.
know, we have to, I think, approach it a little differently, and maybe then it would make it hopefully more appealing
Right.
and less daunting. Maybe
Right.
less like, oh my God, that's a lot of work. Because like you said, I think there is a thing people want quick results,
Hmm.
and there's distractions.
Right.
so
Right.
so but I have to stay. I'm optimistic. I'm hopeful in the sense that I have enough hope to put one foot in front of the other every day.
Right.
And to keep pushing forward even in the madness of this world.
Right.
To look for the beauty, to look for the laughter, to look for the moments of like, wow, those awe-inspiring moments.
Right. I mean, I think one of the things that, and then we'll close here. One of the things that I would like you to reflect on is so healing is inelegant.
Mm, mm,
Healing can be quite messy.
mm.
Um, but that's what makes it beautiful, though.
Yeah.
Like I remember when I got sick with the stroke and like the I didn't have much energy, so I didn't have the energy to be like, "Oh, I'm fine," because I'm not. Like I can't walk. You know what I mean? Like some stuff is going down and like I have radical shifts that I have to make like this. Um I remember painful days almost a year ago to the day I got hives so bad like
Mm,
like my whole body was inflamed. You know what I mean? And I'm stuck and like
mm,
itching and like all this other stuff. And I just sat with it
mm,
and cultivated like kindness toward the situation
mm,
and can tell the story about how I grew my capacity for kindness towards self, which allowed the injury to soften,
mm.
you know? So I guess what I'm asking your reflection on is how, in the context of the beautiful wisdom that you shared with your community stuff, like how do we make it more possible for people to understand that it not being pretty is beautiful?
Mm. Oh, that I think it's kintsugi, the
Yeah,
Japanese.
kitsugi, yeah,
I think that's the Japanese term, right? For
yeah.
the,
The broken, right?
yeah, and they put the golden lacquer on purpose,
Yeah,
like,
like this is the broken part, right? Right,
like I want all of you to see this how beautifully imperfect this is,
right.
you know, or how perfectly imperfect it is. I,
Hmm.
I, I love that you said that because that's why so often I'm sure it's no different where you are.
No,
There's community, there's people in community that are in a space, are different orgs. I'm not talking to this person.
yo,
That
it's
person did
bad.
one thing.
12
And
years ago.
yeah, and 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 there's just, I know I see it in myself. If I'm not in my full being, in my beingness, I might not have as much grace as I need to for myself and others. And I think recognizing that healing is messy, it's not linear. You might take a few steps to the side, you might slide backwards, you know. It but it's an agreement that we're in this together. We agree we're going to grow together, community. And so when someone messes up, we can't, I don't think it's right to be like, well, no, I'm bowing out. Like, no, this person needs to be excommunicated. There has to be other ways. And that's why there's restorative justice and transformative justice. I think there's, in, all I'm saying is there has to be grace for that and understanding, a deep
Hmm.
understanding that, that part of me that I wish didn't exist, when I criticize other people, that's probably what I see in them as well.
How about it? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like a mirror, it's like a reflection. And so maybe I need to heal that in me. You know that it's a prayer of forgiveness, ho'oponopono.
Hmm. Hmm.
That practice is so rich in that sense of such a deep practice because it speaks to our oneness.
Right.
And so really, who am I to say, well, it's messy, it's too messy here. Oh, or now we use the word toxic. The minute something is a little messy, we say it's toxic. I say no. Maybe it just means that there's healing happening. It might mean that there's some work that's happening right now. Things are shifting, and to embrace that. But I don't know how we. That's a hard sell.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think that I'm blessed in that for whatever reason, over the course of my healing journey, I have been explicit. Just like brother can't walk, part genetics, part bad decisions. Here we are.
Mm.
And that has allowed for that vulnerability, that rawness, like in a time of delusion and distraction, like that rawness, people are like, yo, he's going through some shit. But yo, like that kind of makes me want to look into my own, you know what I mean? Like me being so
Yeah. Yeah.
gave people the courage to consider maybe not being like this because this is a lot, but like to go like this
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
look at themselves, you know?
Well, I think that's what you just said. I know we got to go. We have to end
Yeah.
this. I think what you just spoke of is vulnerability. You
Mm,
know, having the courage to be vulnerable and to be like, hey, this is me. And I think that vulnerability, I find, is can be met with grace.
absolutely.
Tends to be, unless like usually, right? Like if someone's being vulnerable, you have to be some kind of special to meet that with aggression. You know what I mean? Like usually vulnerability is met with we might not know how to respond, but it's and I
Right.
think I think that's vulnerable being like this is me right now. Like this is how I can show up right now. This is what I got right now. And I think maybe that's where we start in community, knowing that it's going to be messy. I like that you said that vulnerability.
Amen. Well, I'm so grateful for your time and your
uh,
wisdom. I'm grateful for Kripalu's hosting
thank
us.
you, thank
And I
you.
just want to
Yes.
thank everyone who's watching us non-contemporaneously. Thank you for joining the sessions of the Amplify Summit with Fimo Mitchell. Again, a special thank you to the donors and supporting the third year of Amplify the Voices of the Global Majority series. And thank you all for your presence with us online. Love and grace, peace and blessing.